Good morning. Welcome to Bass University Live, everybody. Man, we're on another holiday. Hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful holiday season. It was great. We had a lot of fun here at my house. I hope you guys did too. We're sitting here on New Year's Eve. What a great day, especially as an angler, because we always look forward to upcoming tournaments, things we want to get better at. And a variety of things that we want to look forward to in the upcoming new year. So this is a great day. Glad you guys are here with us, and we've got a lot going on. But we had a great Christmas here at my house. I want to show you guys my favorite Christmas present I got this year. Me and Jake got these.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
The Gluzak fishing, a family tradition. I love it. It's a nice hoodie. That's awesome. Me and Jake were wearing them around this weekend.
Nice.
What'd you guys get? What was your favorite holiday gift this year, or a favorite moment, or whatever?
Justin, go ahead.
Rich?
My favorite gift. I'll have to go with a new scale.
Oh, did you get a new scale? What did you get?
I did. You want me? It's sitting right here. I'll show it to you.
Let's see it.
This is what I got right here. Got myself a nice little Bubba scale for Christmas.
Sweet.
I
know you were talking about wanting that, man. That's awesome that you got that.
Yep. That was my big.
Is my
Christmas
signal coming?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You're a little bit delayed, maybe.
You're okay. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I see you guys freezing up on me a little bit, so that's usually my signal that's causing the trouble. So, but no, that's great. Getting the Bubba scale, so you won't have you can avoid running into the trouble that I ran into this year.
Yep. So I can avoid that Gluzak tradition, just like. That's what you can say on that hoodie. Bring it to the scale.
That is not a tradition. That is no way a tradition. We're not going to make that a tradition. How about you, Rich? What was exciting for you?
Man, I mean, the holidays are, it's always good, always busy. I was able to do a little bit of hunting around the Christmas holiday. Spent some time in the woods. It's always nice. Saw some deer. It's always enjoyable to have that going on. But I think gift wise, I got a Blackstone grill for Christmas. And you guys know how much I like to cook, especially in the summertime. So that Blackstone grill will get plenty of use in Red Point. So. It's I'm
excited for that gift.
What's that?
I'm excited for that gift.
Yeah, I think everybody is. But yeah, man, yeah, good Christmas all in all. New Year's Day. It's crazy that it is New Year's Eve and it's going to be almost 60 degrees today. It's like it's wild. The temperature is just running up and down. So
yeah, it is crazy. I see a lot of people fishing on social. That's awesome. Yeah. We've been in the wrestling room with tournaments and a lot of wrestling going on with my son. So that was he had a great tournament, the Wetzel Classic Christmas tournament this year. So that was a lot of fun. Congratulations to Jake for 4th place finish, looking strong, getting better every day. Jocelyn, are you with us this morning?
Jocelyn's off today.
She's off today.
Oh, that's right. Jocelyn is off today. I forgot she's preparing for a big New Year's festivities. So I hope you have a great time tonight. Good luck, Jocelyn. I know you're hosting this year, so that should be a lot of fun. But in that she's not here, guys, we are selling tickets like crazy. Texas is filling up. Anderson too. Get over to BassU.TV. Get yourself some tickets to this year's Bass University classes. They are on sale now. We see a lot of people using their Christmas money to come to a Bass University event. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got
We've got no more of the dean. The dean is just rolled out on us, so I'll go ahead and take over. But guys, this is such a star-packed lineup in Athens. I mean, for a show in Texas, if you're from Texas and you want to learn more about that area and how to fish it effectively, I mean, gosh, just look at the lineup you have between Combs and Eber and Livesey and Hackney and Nick LeBrun and Matty Wong, who had a stellar tournament last year on Lake Fork. I mean, really, really big wealth of knowledge there as far as the instructors go. And, a lot of great opportunities to learn. It's a great chance to get one-on-one, face-to-face with the instructors, with the guys, and really, learn in a way that you really can't get anywhere else. I mean, it is face-to-face. So definitely check out the tickets for Athens. And then, following weekend in Anderson, South Carolina, another amazing lineup. Hunter Shryock, Gerald Swindle, Brian Thrift, Fletcher Shryock, Kyle Patrick, and Matt Airy. Guys, we pick these instructors for a reason, based on the location that the classes are going to be. And there's a reason for each one of those guys to be in that seminar room. And I think it's really going to be impactful, not only to just you if you live in that area, but across the board. I mean, these guys are going to teach about, the most cutting edge techniques and ways that they have become, the top tier anglers in the world. So definitely check it out. Buy your tickets if you haven't yet. They're filling up fast.
Thanks for having my back there, Rich. I think I may have my signal figured out.
We think so. Now you're looking nice and clean. The clean dean.
That's good. That's good. So great events. I don't know if you heard, I was talking about it. We're going to have a flipping contest this year. I don't know if that came through in the broadcast, but we're going to have a lot of fun with the students. We've got a great concept where the students are going to be able to kind of put their hat in the ring against the pros to see who the most accurate flippers and pitchers are. Going to be a lot of fun this year. We have breakout sessions, a chance to get in or talk to the pros, get in their tackle box, get pictures, autographs, and you're hanging out with a lot of people that are just like you, that love this sport and want to learn how to get better. It's a lot of fun. It's a tremendous event. So we look forward to seeing you guys at Anderson and Texas this year. It's going to be real good. We've also, if you can make it to the classes, guess what? All these are going to be televised. They're going to be filmed and they're going to be released on BashU.TV. And Justin, we always have a cool promotion going on at Bash University. What's happening right now?
We still got our little holiday deal going on, last day or so of that. So if you want to take advantage of a $99 annual subscription, you better do it before it runs out, and you get a little secret Santa box with that. You get a box of random baits sent to your doorstep, and 2 people will be picked to win a golden ticket box at the end of this promo, which is a box worth of over $350 worth of gear. So
heck yeah.
Yep. There's a 50-day free trial going on too if you just want to dip your toes in. I think I said it right this time. It's dip your toes and check it out.
That's awesome. So we're getting a lot of new subscribers. If you're new to BashU, you might be watching the show for the first time. Welcome to Bash University. There's a lot going on there. Some of the new things that we have this year are our courses, which you want to check those out. It's an opportunity for you to watch a series of seminars from regarding a certain topic that is really going to help you use Bash University. It's a fun way to use it, and that's going to be new this year. I'm pulling up some tackle on the website because one of the coolest gifts that I got, I think, for Jake this year was I got him that Lose Custom Pro Generation 3 bait casting reel. It's a, I don't know if you call it anti-backlash, but I think that's what it's designed for, is to try to really minimize that. And they did a great job.
One?
It's gold.
Gold, yeah, goldish orange. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That came out at ICAST this year as a big release from Luz. So Jake got that in his stocking this year. So
Heck yeah.
yeah.
If that ain't a stocking stuffer, I don't know what is.
That's about as good as it gets. We got a lot of our guys checking in on the message boards with us right now too. On the Bass U chat, we got Tim Land, Nick Mayberry, Howie Range, Chuck Fish, Waco, Frank Walder, BMF, Lee C, Glenn Day, all hanging out with us. And over there on the social waves, we got Epic Eric, Steve Kaiser, Chris Curtis, Scott Van Leer. We see you guys. Thanks for watching. Fire those comments in there. We appreciate getting those. So thanks for watching the show with us today.
Yeah, it's good to have everybody hanging out with us, hanging out on the holiday. I guess a lot of people are off today, and we're glad to be here with you guys because we have something to celebrate. We've had another amazing year at Bass University with working with the top tour anglers, teaching the cutting edge techniques. Man, it's what drives us. We love it so much. As we all are anglers, like we're the real deal here at Bass University. Everybody you see on this threesome right here on your screen are pretty hardcore anglers. We love to fish. We love to tournament fish too. And even now I'm kind of into the next generation of my fishing right now, in that I'm teaching my son who's in the high school divisions as he goes through this really cool sport. So we love this sport, and we're thrilled to bring all this amazing teaching to you guys. So what this show is going to be is our countdown. What were our most impactful, our most viewed, and most from cutting edge techniques to working with Sonar to a variety of topics that we took on again this year. And I'm really excited because I don't know who finished in the top. The list was compiled by a number of ways, and I'm going to throw it to you, Rich. How exactly was that list compiled?
Well, we took a lot of things into account. Most of it was just the stats. We just pulled the data from our awesome web admin, Jason. He's one of the guys that does a lot for us here at Bass U behind the scenes, as well as Jeff Olson. Shout out Jeff Olson. So we got the stats on our seminars, and the seminars that got the most views and the most feedback. We took all that information and put together a list, and I think it's a really good one. I mean, going back through the seminars, getting ready for this show, I decided to go back in and cut new clips that we haven't used before, or some fresher clips, and it reminded me personally about a lot of these seminars that we shot this past year that I think I need to go back in and watch and listen to again for my own fishing. So yeah, we got it. We got a list put together, and I'm excited to roll it out.
Me too. I've got my angler's coffee, and I'm going to sit back. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to count them down, guys. So you guys are right with me. Rich knows, Justin knows, but I do not know who our instructor of the year and topic of the year was. So I'm excited to learn with you guys. So we're going to play a clip from each one, and we're going to count them down. So without any further ado, man, let's roll them out.
Yeah. So the first clip we're going to roll is in the 10 spot, rounding out the top 10. And this seminar is going to be from Ben Milliken, and it's his forward-facing sonar strategy seminar. So let's see a little bit about it.
Ben?
So here's another clip right here where we're going to talk about, once again, this is summer. This is the warm time of the year, the fun time of the year, when you can catch them on a lot of different presentations and you can really mess with those fast baits. 21 feet of water, 21 and a half feet, wide open, nothing. These fish are out roaming around. This happens in all these Texas lakes. That one whatever direction the water is. That one there, it happens there. It happens in all these small lakes. It happens at Toledo, Rayburn, Pines. It happens in all of these lakes. There's fish out roaming around. And you can use that rate of stall and a faster motion to get those fish to react. So this body of water is like, it's clean for Texas. It's probably 3 or 4 foot visibility here. And I saw this fish way up here by the surface. Look at that, 2 feet deep. Now look where that fish is in 21.5 feet of water. That's incredible. We just never would have seen these or knew about these without forward-facing sonar. I nerd out about stuff like that. Then we also got this guy here. So I don't know what's up with this guy, what the heck his problem was, but I had a little chopper glide, that little 5-6 inch glide bait from 6 cents, the mini draw. My bait splashes here. It's summer, so I'm trying to get these fish attention. I don't care if it splashes. I don't care if it's going to spook them, whatever, because the summer fish are so active, they need to eat so much more food to maintain their body weight that they'll chase, they'll go get it. Go ahead, Riz. So you'll see my bait hit the water out there about 50 feet right there, and I'm working over that fish, and this guy down here immediately, he heard that hit the water, and you guys know what's about to happen. Game over. Working that bait as quick as possible, twitch, 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 walking it back and forth, the foot below the surface like a walking bait. That's not a huge fish, but that's a cool way to catch a 2.5, 3 pounder on a topwater bait. And that's the same thing that you guys can use around schooling fish in the summer as well that people aren't throwing. Everyone's out there throwing jackal riser bait. They're throwing a topwater bait. They're throwing a jerk bait. That little 6 inch glide bait has become a staple for me for those open water schooling fish.
What a great seminar. And, Ben's hot. He, he made the classic again this year, and he, in his rookie season out on the elites. It's funny what he said, just throwing that little 6 inch swim bait, like that's funny to me, because like 6 inch swim baits, that's not a tiny little bait, but in certain lakes and in certain parts of the country, 6 inches is a tiny bait,
Yeah. And what really stood out to me about that seminar and that clip is that we kind of always we strive for this at Bass U. We try to get the guys to talk about the stuff that other guys aren't talking about. And catching fish, when you think, when I think a lot of people, myself included, hear forward-facing sonar, your brain goes to the forward-facing sonar-esque baits, the minnow style baits, the Nico rigs, the, more finessey stuff, but it's got a place for a lot of other approaches as well, including the big bait world. And Ben's a guy that does a lot of that. So, that was a great seminar from Ben, and it's one that I definitely got to go back in and watch again,
over and over again. Justin, what's your takeaway from Ben's seminar?
I think that's probably my 13th or 14th time watching a clip from that seminar. There's a bunch to take away from it, kind of like what you said with the baits. Like he mentions a bunch in that seminar how, the size of bait that he throws, he's matching it with the forage and stuff like that. Like it really depends on your fishery. But Ben's a knowledgeable guy, man. He put a lot of good information in and time into his seminars that he did with us last year.
Yeah, he really did. And he did amazing work. Thank you for that, Ben. But he did, before we move on to number 9, one of the things that I think is probably the buzz phrase of forward-facing sonar this year is that rate of retrieve. How important that is in all forward-facing sonar fishing. We heard it with all of our guys even we fished with, like Drew Gill that you fished with this year, and other guys and my fishing, and hear Ben talk about it. Once you capture that fish's attention, like, you don't want to slow down in most cases. A lot of times you got to speed up, and that's exactly what he did. It's like a cat and mouse situation. You got that fish's attention captured, and you got to make that bait look like it's running for its life. And that is one serious strategy for fishing with this type of technology. So that was interesting to hear him say it there. And great speaker coming in at number 10. And Ben Milliken, who's coming up at number 9?
Number 9, we have Buddy Gross in Offshore Sweet Spots.
I see it more and more with a 360. If I'm sitting on top of a break and I'm looking off in a ditch and you can see the fish traveling, I mean, it's amazing if you just anchor down and you sit there and watch how many come through it. And it's not the same ones. They come in from front of you, back of you. They come from everywhere. So keep in mind, you can spot lock on this place and catch them for a few minutes and they die. And you may have an hour that you go without a bite, and then all of a sudden they fire right back up. Well, it ain't that they just decided to eat. They came back. They're not going to sit still. They're going to move around, and they're going to travel these corridors, every one of these corridors. And 99% of the time I'm better here, but you know what? I've got spoiled on this place. I'm not going to tell you that this one right here and this one right here and this one right here is not just as good or better the same day, but I'm hitting the high spots too in these tournaments. So if I was fun fishing, and I know people that do it, I know people that start right there and they fish every bit of it, and they catch them. So main thing is when you're looking for sweet spots, this ditch is a sweet spot. This flat up here, well, yeah, you'll catch fish up here. There's going to be a lot more fish running this ditch than there are just sitting up here at this number 12. And this thing is starting to load up with eelgrass. And now, used to this didn't have nothing but some hydrilla, and this is years ago, but all this right here now is eelgrass. And the sweet spots now with eelgrass guys isn't the points or the cuts or anything else, it's the open holes. If you find an open hole now, it's just like a spring or a ditch. They like the open holes. Go to the next. And this is another ditch. And the reason I'm showing you this one sets up the exact same way. This is on another lake. But you see how this ditch makes this big turn? It's got this bar right here. The greens just means it's shallower. Dark blue's deep, light blue's 15 feet, but this one right here comes up to like 12 feet. So the magic spot on this one is actually that real funnely shape right here. But they travel from the river in, and then when they get done spawning, they go right back out. And then right here, that one never gets hit. Solid rock out there.
Buddy Gross, offshore aficionado, no doubt, using LakeMaster mapping. And big shout out to Humminbird this year. The Explorer units come standard with the LakeMaster maps now, which is pretty awesome because the LakeMaster VX maps they're off the charts. No pun intended. But they're amazing. And Buddy teaches how the fish move. He's great at offshore. He's made his name on Lake Chickamauga, fishing ledges and the Tennessee River offshore stuff. So yeah, he's the man for this seminar, Rich.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you are a Tennessee River guy, specifically Lake Chickamauga, you should sign up for Bass University just to watch that seminar, because in that seminar there were I think there was 6 or 8 map shots of of real life examples on Lake Chickamauga that Buddy essentially just broke it down and gives up all the juice on those areas. So it's something you definitely want to check out. I mean, he's got so many sneaky little ways that he finds these areas, but once he finds them, he's got a way of breaking them down too, and he shares all that in that seminar. So it was definitely a good one.
Yes, it was. Justin, what's your takeaway?
What he identifies as a sweet spot, it's almost like the slightest indifference in whether a ditch or a flat can be considered a sweet spot depending on the time of year.
Yep. He definitely is dialed in on those subtle details, and which makes a spot congregate fish, and we can see it so much better now, especially with Mega Live. We can actually see how these fish move and in real time, see them coming and going. It's pretty amazing stuff. One of my fan favorite moments is I love that Buddy loves to throw in a Carolina rig, and that's one of my favorites, man. It's such an amazing structure tool, and he continues to use it. A lot of people are using that Carolina rig and having a lot of success with it. Of course, Rich, you had great success with it up at Thousand Islands this year.
Yeah, that was that was fun. Little different deal up there, drifting, but yeah, it's a great way to catch them.
Yeah, I love fishing that Carolina rig. So congrats, Buddy Gross, coming in at number 9. All right, let's keep moving. Rich, who's our number 8 guy?
Yeah, so for number 8, it's actually really cool that it laid out this way because the first one was a forward-facing sonar seminar. The second one was an offshore sweet spot seminar where Buddy Gross, at the beginning of that clip, he talked about how he utilizes Humminbird 360 to be able to track fish's movement coming in and out of areas. And this next one is from Greg Hackney, and it is finding fish old school with new technology.
That's another thing I've learned about my active target unit. When you're fishing around shallow fish, it has a tendency over time to make them quit biting. So just be thinking about that when you're fishing a place. As long as I'm moving, I have all this equipment running because I'm using it. I'm looking at the depth, I'm looking at the bottom, I'm looking around me to see if there's isolated cover around, and I'm using all that stuff, but I'm still using my eyes and my knowledge of a bass. But the deal is, if I ever get to a situation and I have all this stuff on and I'm gonna spend a lot of time fishing in this room. So this area's got a lot of fish in it and I'm gonna spend a lot of time here. That's when I start turning all that stuff off. But up till that point, as long as I'm practicing, or it could be I'm running and gunning and running a pattern, I still leave all that stuff on. It's important to have it. And I'm always constantly, and I've learned this over time, I'm always watching everything. I'm always looking for some subtleties, because here's the deal. It doesn't matter if I'm fishing in 2 feet of water or 60 feet of water. More times than not, there's something about the bottom that's different that makes that place, makes the fish want to be there. There's more times than not. And again, now we're not talking about this other deal. We're talking about, we're traditionally bass fishing, and I'm fishing. It doesn't matter if I'm running down a bank, it's got laydowns on it, or I'm fishing rocks. I'm always looking at the bottom. I always have my 2D on. These are things that'll never go away, even though we have this new technology. These things will never, I'll never stop looking at my 2D sonar. It's the best, probably, if you said you can only have one thing, if you can only have one thing, I'm sure right now 99% of the fishermen out there would pick the front-facing sonar, either the active target, the live target, whatever. But I would not. I would choose the 2D because I always want to know what the bottom looks like.
That's pretty awesome. 2D sonar, a lot of people, you've got 5 screens on your boat. Some guys aren't even having a 2D screen lit up during that fishing process. But Greg is not alone in that the importance of 2D sonar. You know who sticks out in my mind, Rich, is Brian Schmidt, who has become forward-facing sonar, all in on it. But the importance of that 2D, because it shows you fish under the boat in a way, like when you're bringing them to the boat when they're chasing that off of that forward transducer, you bring them under that cone right underneath the boat, and the 2D shows them up better than the forward facing can. So there's a lot of guys still using that 2D.
Absolutely. And one of the things that really stands out with Greg in this seminar, and it's starting to get talked about more and more, is the importance of bottom composition, right? Everybody knows that, or I shouldn't say everybody knows, but it's a commonly known factor in bass fishing that bottom composition is very important. But I think that with the new technology that we have, there's a lot more that you can learn about your fishery just by understanding the cycle of life, that everything works from the bottom the floor up, essentially. And that floor doesn't start where if you dunk your rod in the water and you feel the bottom with your rod tip, that's not really where it starts. It starts like 6 inches below that. Even that's where the cycle of life really starts. And to be able to identify that with 2D sonar and understanding why certain areas are more productive than other areas, it really all starts from the floor, from the ground up, and understanding what live bottom is, what dead bottom is, hard bottom, soft bottom, all those things, and why sometimes of year one will be better than the other, because it's not always one's better than the other. There's different times where they might prefer different environments, different bottom compositions. And that was a great seminar from Greg. And he's one of those guys that I think we all three on this show here relate to, because of the way that we tend to fish a lot and the way that he tends to fish a lot. So it's a good one. Yeah,
I call him the natural. We're excited to have him in Texas, in Athens, with us this year. So Greg has always had a way to think about fishing that just kind of surprises me a little bit. It makes, after he says it, you're like, it makes so much sense. It's like you're like, well, why didn't I think of that, or why didn't I see it that way? But once he explains it, it becomes clear, and it's great to see him. Talking about the importance of habitat. For fishing, when so much of the technology has taken us offshore, all in suspended fish. There's still a lot of fishing to be done up on the bank. What are your thoughts, Justin?
Man, with Hack, something he said in the early few seconds of that clip was, don't forget to use your eyes. And with the technology, man, sometimes you're looking at the screen and you almost forget where you're at. You're just looking around. And I mean, that's something I'm going to have to work with, especially going into the spring and summer, because, man, especially on the flats and stuff, I can't tell you how many fish that I catch just because I see a little piece of bait flicker out of the corner of my eye, or just see some type of movement, or a little dead spot in the grass or something like that. So whether, I don't know if that's exactly what he was talking about in that part, but it resonated with me that way. And I know he mentioned it later on in the seminar, but that'll probably be it for me. Always use your eyes.
Yeah, that's great advice. And one of the greatest anglers of all time, Greg Hackney, coming in at number 7. And before we go to number 6, one of the things that he advocates for is turning all that sonar off when he's found those fish, and he's decided he needs to be stealthy in that area. He cuts all that pinging off to give him a little bit of an advantage. So it's very cool. And I see Jim F talking about John Cox. Don't need no stinking 3D or forward facing. And John is in that same frame of mind that Greg is in a lot, and it's great to see those shallow water fishermen being successful. And glad to have both of those guys at Bass University, and great to have Greg with us this year at Athens.
That is very true about John Cox and not needing forward-facing sonar, or any sonar for that matter. Fun John Cox story. 2020 Bassmaster Classic, he actually did not have a graph on his boat because he left it at home. So didn't seem to bother him either. When we talked to Media Day, he was not concerned about it. So, but
that's awesome.
One last thing I wanted to touch on that's a parallel in the Greg Hackney seminar is him talking about the bottom, and kind of what I was saying with the circle of life. It all starts at the bottom. There's also been multiple Bass U instructors. Brandon Lester's one that comes to mind that really emphasize this, is that understanding how to catch bass also means understanding the rest of the ecosystem as well, because it's all connected, and they're, species of fish are in certain areas for certain reasons. So if you can understand why bass are there because what their food is doing puts them there, or what the next level down the line is doing, that really starts to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And it all starts with just having an understanding with the ecosystem that you're in. But yeah, at number, what are we on? 6 here? We're on number 6. Number 6, we are going, what?
7.
We're on 7. We're on number 7. Thank you, Justin. Number 7, we are going out on the water for this one with Kyle Patrick and LiveScope settings.
So the color scheme we've gone over, color gain. This is a really important one. Everyone should pay attention to this. So color gain is totally different from gain. On the main screen, when I showed you, there was gain and then there's color gain. Color gain is how bright your return is. That's the way I think about it. I mean, there's so many different settings. You can, play with so much, but for me, this is important in that, the higher the gain, the more return you're getting. But like if you go at 100, it tends to get blown out. Like if you notice when I'm at 100, I'll exit out, there's more like fuzz. And when there's more fuzz between the bottom and, where the fish will sit, it sometimes can be harder to see those fish that are like close to the bottom, like this one right here. That one's way off the bottom and you can see it really well. But when that fish right here hugs down closer, it sometimes can be tricky to see it. So as far as my color gain, I keep it between 70 and 85. 85, I like it there when I'm looking at suspended fish. Like see that one right out there on that rock pile? It's kind of moving down a little bit there. It just went down. I just think that it's a brighter return. You can see your lure a lot better. But when I'm in structure and I want some better target separation, I tend to drop that down to like 75 or even, down in 70. You can do default, which is a lot lower, but I like a little bit more of a return, just so I can, look how clear that fish is right here. When I'm at 75, that fish right there at 30, it's very, very clear.
What an amazing tutorial on the difference between color and sensitivity. That's awesome, and seeing it in real time. Where were you guys filming that this year, Rich?
That was do you remember the name of the lake, Justin, up there in Cooperstown?
I don't remember what the lake
in New
was
York.
Yeah, it was in New York.
Yep. That's great. Kyle Patrick's going to be with us this year as well. Is he in Anderson or Athens this year?
Anderson.
He's in Anderson. You're going to want to check Kyle out. He's full of juice, and he just keeps delivering big finishes and has a great simplistic approach to his fishing. So that's a great takeaway. And forward-facing sonar. And actually, I think that was number 6. I think you were right, Rich. We got Ben Milliken was number 10, Buddy Gross number 9, Hackney was number 8, Kyle Patrick was number 7. I guess you're right, that was number 7.
Yep.
Got to do a little math, but what takeaways do you guys have from Kyle?
My takeaway from that clip specifically is that more isn't always better as it pertains to color gain. Like having target separation, you're actually going to get better target separation by dropping the color gain down. It's not always, more is not always better when it comes to forward facing sonar. And all of these things are somewhat subjective as far as everybody's eyes see things differently. Everybody has a different preference. But the really cool thing about this seminar is that if you watch this seminar with Kyle and you just take the aspect that he teaches about as far as how to set your unit up, it will put you in the game, so to speak, as far as, your settings aren't going to be jacked. You're going to be pretty darn close to what they need to be. And all you have to do from there is just make minor adjustments for your preferences.
Yep. How about you, Justin? You were there for that one.
Yeah. Overall for that seminar, Kyle mentioned something, and it might not, it wasn't in that clip, but your sonar, whatever brand you're using, it's never going to be crystal clear and it's going to be perfect. I see people all the time like just looking for a magic setting that will magically make your Humminbird Mega Live, your Garmin, just crystal clear, and it never will be. And Kyle mentions that, and you just have to work around stuff like that, especially in the grass when he goes into the grass with it. And going off what Rich says, I mean, if you don't know where to start, you're going to be pretty dang close to being as perfect as you can get, following along with Kyle's settings, and then just making minor adjustments along the way with it, depending on your water clarity and your depth and your bottom composition.
Yep. I think that's key, is that there are adjustments required depending on the body of water you're on, the season that you're on. There's so many factors that come into play that you just can't set it and forget it. You've got to, you've got to dial it in a little bit. And Kyle is great at teaching you how to do that on his system. So great seminar. Thank you for that, Kyle. We look forward to seeing you in South Carolina this year. And I guess now we have number 6.
That's right.
Like a 10-pound bass isn't going to get up and be like, all right, I'm going to swim 15 miles to the back of this creek. In my eyes, do I feel like, I mean, there's probably some fish that do that, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, on a lake where he has, a stable area with a lot of bait, a lot of grass, good habitat, a good spawning area close by, he's not going to move very far. He's going to stay in that zone that I picked. I just have to figure out where he moved to. Now, that comes into consideration when you're fishing out deep. Those fish are wintered up. They're really schooled up tight. You're going to find those 20, 30 fish groups. Now, when it comes to February, now all of a sudden they're going to become more scattered and harder to catch, but they're still going to be in that area. So don't let that deter you, that you've gone back to that same area and you're only picking up a fish every, half hour of the day. That doesn't necessarily mean there's not as many fish there just because you're not catching as many. It means that they're more dispersed. There could be one in 8 inches of water, one in 5 foot of water, and one sitting on a stump or one sitting on a grass patch. All of a sudden those 30 fish you're catching on that one hard spot are all distributed, in a 2-mile zone in this creek, either in grass or on a stump, or maybe there's a male on a bed or a couple males on a bed. They're all spread out. So you have to take that in consideration as well. And all these zones are based on my confidence fishing. You guys all have your confidence techniques, places of the lake you like to fish, things you like to do. If you like to flip laydowns, if you don't like to turn on the graph, I recommend doing that. Don't go and try and throw a jig and spoon in 40 feet of water if that's not you, unless you're willing to learn and you want to try something new. But if you just like fishing your confidence techniques, pick an area of the lake you like to fish, pick a technique you like to fish, and then pick an area of the lake that looks good to you. You can use Google Earth to your advantage as well. That goes back to research. If you like fishing shallow, that's a good way to, pick structure that you like to fish.
J-Dog, our boy Jay Security, one of the most talented anglers, one of the most talented young anglers out there, and just seemingly, it just makes it look so easy, Rich. It's unbelievable how he makes it look easy.
Yeah, he is. And that the title of that seminar was Breaking Down New Water. Man, what really stood out to me is how much he emphasized it, that the importance of fishing to your confidences and fishing to your strengths. I think there's times, and this is something I can look back on my year, this past year fishing, and I can absolutely pinpoint some things where I screwed up, you know. And I think there's times where you have enough time to learn and build new confidence in something that you've never done. But in a 2 3/4 day practice period before a big event, that may not be enough time to go out and try to teach yourself a new style of fishing. And what really rings to me on this is our Toyota Series event up on Champlain. I spent 2 full days trying to do a style of fishing, pattern of fishing that I was not comfortable with. I was trying to go make the smallmouth work, ping the minnow, do all that. And in the final day of practice, I just went largemouth fishing, and everything, all the wheels just started to click, and the confidence got rolling. And, you know, I had in my head going into that event that it's only smallmouth. You got a smallmouth. Well, largemouth played a huge factor in that tournament. And looking back on it, I say to myself, you dummy, if you had spent 3 full days breaking down that lake, fishing to your confidences and fishing to your strengths, how could that have unfolded? So that was a impactful moment from that seminar for me personally.
Excellent. Fishing to your strengths. I know it's changed the way that I think about my own personal fishing. Is I always try to fish to my strengths, especially when I'm in a tournament. But even fun fishing, when you're fishing to your strengths, you're just having a lot of fun. You know, it's funny that way. You know, like I love to flip and pitch, and even if I'm not catching them, I'm happier doing that technique than most any other technique. So it just keeps me engaged a lot more. And I think as a result, it helps me catch a lot more fish, and it helps me do a lot better in the tournaments too. But I agree with that 100%. How about you, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say pretty much exactly what Rich said when he just mentioned about fishing your confidence and finding areas of the lake to fish your confidence stuff. I mean, that's all it needs to really be said there. And then don't be scared to learn those new techniques, but you got to, do it in the part of the lake where you can do it. Unless you want to go throwing a big spoon and jigging it in 3 foot of water with grass,
Yeah. Well, it brings me to something that I teach sometimes. I teach a lot is I'm teaching this to Jake a lot. A lot of people want to try a new technique or try a new lure. And that's fun. It's one of the fun parts of fishing. But one of the best times to try those new baits is when you're on a good school of fish, or you're on a pattern where you know that there are fish around. Because say, I don't know, for instance, you're not confident in jig fishing, and you're in an area and you get a few bites with a Texas rig or with a Senko, and there's some fish in the area. This is a great time to pick up a jig and get in there and fish it around and try to get a few bites and get confidence on that technique. And that's great, because a lot of times we'll put on a brand new lure that we've never caught a fish with on a brand new lake or an area we've never fished before, and you're fishing around and you're not getting bit, and you lose confidence in that technique or that lure real quick. But if you wait until you're around a winning pattern or a good area that's got a lot of fish in it, that's the best time in the world to pick up a new technique, a new lure, and put it through its paces. I do that a lot in the Clearwater smallmouth. I love doing that around, because you can see them a lot visually, and you can take a new lure or new technique and you can throw it out there and watch them respond to it or not respond to it, and you can quickly figure out, all right, well, this is a high percentage tool, or maybe, this is not so much. It's situational. The smallmouth, maybe they're not even looking at it, So great stuff from Jay Secure, young angler, but comes from a tremendous fishing family, and his father making big waves in the walleye world. So he's been trained had a fish since he was a kid, and he's a really good teacher, and glad to have him with us at Bass University. A lot more Jason Church stuff on Bass U TV, so go check it out. All right, we're there. We're in the top 5, Rich. Here we go. Who's coming in number 5?
Top 5, we are going to come in with Hunter Shryock flipping and pitching.
Heck.
Another key thing with the jig versus soft plastic is what kind of cover are you fishing? Are you fishing, something like a cypress tree where it's vertical and it's got a drop off on the front of it? Soft plastics tend to glide more. A jig is going to fall straight down. So if you need something like a dock post that's in 5 foot of water and you're flipping the outside of the dock post, you get a soft plastic, you may pitch up there, but by the time it gets to the bottom, it had glided off to the left or right. You may have thought you presented that bait properly to the fish when really it slid off, and if that fish is at the bottom or halfway suspended on that dock post, it was just far out enough away from it where it didn't get it. Okay? Now that glide can help you too, but in certain situations when you're trying to keep it next to that cover, you got to keep that in mind. A jig is going to fall. You watch it, you drop it by your boat, that jig's going to fall straight down. Now the more appendages you have on a soft plastic, that's going to grab more water. That's not going to let it glide as much. It's going to tend to tip it up and it falls straight down. So just things to keep in mind, like what cover you're fishing. Fishing and efficiency, we covered that. Go-to flipping baits. Everybody's got their favorite baits, right? Big thing that I want to say about it is you want to pick a bait that doesn't have a lot of plastic. I wouldn't say a lot of plastic. You want to check the thickness of your bait because you're trying to get a hook point out of this stuff, right? So if you had something, just a big conglomerate on here, your hookup ratio just went down. Now, if you had something that's thin as a piece of paper, the moment you hit something, that hook point's coming out, you're gonna hook everything, right? So just to keep that in mind, regardless of what soft plastic you use, just kind of keep in mind the thickness of it and pair that appropriately with the right hook.
Well, I could have used this seminar before I went flipping and pitching this year. I mean, I had a great year flipping and I was flipping the cleanup crawl, but I missed several fish with it this year. Some of it we caught on camera, and I think he's exactly right that with the thickness of the plastic and the hook that I was using, I had to keep making changes until I figured out and change my rod till I could dial in to get through that little heavier plastic than that was preventing me from getting the 100% strike to catch that you're always looking for when you're flipping and pitching. So yeah, that hit me right in the face, Rich. That hurts.
Yeah. It's I'm sure it did. It's hitting me in the face too, Pete. I think we've talked about it on this show probably at length, in the amount of missed opportunities that I had this fall flipping and pitching due to break offs and things like that. But one of the things that really stood out to me about that seminar is the analogy of the bass on the dock post. And if you're pitching something out there that's gliding and you're only fishing, you're fishing in a body of water that has 16 inches of visibility and that thing glides 2 feet out, you're out of the game. You know what I mean? That's a fish that you're going to pass, and the next guy coming behind you, if they present the correct bait the correct way, is probably going to catch that fish. So, I mean, that's just one of those things where the little details can make big differences in triggering that bite or not getting a bite.
Excellent. And I love that this made the top 5. It's a traditional technique. We've had a lot of sonar and offshore stuff in the bottom half, and I think we got probably some more coming, but it's great. We have if you're a traditional angler and you're all about, cutting those electronics off, we've got a ton of tremendous tutorials on every single technique and strategy in fishing. We have over 1,400 seminars at Bass University, and it's great to see that flipping and pitching is hitting home, and we're going to be seeing the Shryock brothers in Anderson, South Carolina, both of them, both Hunter and Fletcher, this year. So that was a great seminar. I know you love to flip and pitch. Justin, what was your takeaway from this seminar?
One word: efficiency, especially in the grass. If I can get through a day and make 20 more flips than another guy, I'm going to get probably one more bite in a day. I definitely wouldn't say I'm a good flipper, especially around docks, but in grass, when I have nothing to hit, I'm all right. But efficiency is one thing there. Having the right setup, the right weight, being able to pick apart that stuff effectively, and listening to that seminar, I might go back and try the old braid the fluoro flipping again this spring, like old Hunt Dog likes to do. So I might try that out again, because that helps your efficiency with that braid and the fluoro. It does, as long as it's not getting caught in your guides. It helps your efficiency. Yep.
Yeah, and your strike to catch, right? Your the ability. That was, your ability to get hook penetration through those variety of plastics. You can really get them. If the fish has a bait and he's got you wrapped around a grass clump, you can get that penetration so much more easily with braid. If he takes it and moves left or right, you can pick up that slack so much better. Oh, love it, Hunter. Love it. Traditional technique coming in at number 5. What's happening number 4, Rich?
Number 4, we got the Bassmaster Classic champ himself, Justin Hamner, on jerkbaits.
Man, there's going to be some people back home mad at me. So you throw out there, you start working it through that laydown. When you start feeling that line, and y'all know what I mean, when you pull into it, stop jerking it. Don't jerk again, because you're just going to get hung every time. That's when you just want to do that little pull. So it's just like a crankbait, and it's going to come up, crawl right over. But yeah, you'd be amazed at some of the stuff I've actually thrown a jerkbait into. One of my favorite things to do is fish it around grass. Now, not necessarily the willow leaf that we have around here, but any type of hydrilla, eelgrass, stuff like that, I'm throwing a jerkbait over it, because you're actually able to suspend it over the top of it. But also, it's kind of like a rattle trap, is the way I see it. So whenever you're working it and you start getting hung up a little bit in the top of that grass, and you rip that thing, that's when they bite it. So don't be scared to put this thing through anything. You're going to get hung, but it'll be worth it. All right, different types of jerkbaits. There is 1,000 different ones out there. I'm sponsored by Yozuri. And that was a decision I made solely because of their jerkbaits. I was throwing them ever since they came out with that 3DB. And the standard is the 110. The shallow diving 110, I think I got something up here. So you see this one right here, it has that shorter bill, and that's what you're gonna see in probably 90% of the jerkbaits out there, is just that standard little short bill. Obviously, everybody knows about mega bass. That's what I'm gonna say is like the standard. It usually dives 3 to 5 foot, depending on what your line size is. That's
fantastic. And as we look at this seminar, we got to give you props, Rich. You signed him up for his jerkbait seminar at Bass University about a month before he goes and wins the Bassmaster Classic on the exact technique that you had him speak about. That is well done, my friend.
Yeah, that was I give all the credit to Justin Hamner for that one. I mean, I'd like to take some credit, but he's the guy that won the Classic. I just told him to talk about what he was good at. But yeah, really great seminar from Justin there. He's an excellent young angler. And I love starting a clip with one of our guys talking about how many people back home are going to be mad at him for talking about something in a seminar. But I mean, it's true. And it kind of makes me cringe a little bit because it's something that I have done in the past. I've thrown a jerkbait through wood a lot back in the South Jersey days, and I don't do it as much anymore. And I'm kind of asking myself why I stopped doing it. So yeah, really good seminar there from Justin Hamner. And man, if you haven't thrown a jerkbait around grass, that is a fun style of fishing, is ripping a jerkbait out of the grass and the rod just doubling over on you. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's great. He locks that jerkbait in his hand. He has really since he's made it on tour, and he wins the big one with it. We'll see. It's probably going to be a big factor this year and this year's classic too. But Justin, what's your takeaway?
Fishing a jerkbait through grass. I mean, I've really never done it. And he talks about, it's almost like fishing a lipless. I mean, the only time I think I've really thrown a jerkbait through any type of grass was on Champlain, just, on some of them flats that have sparse grass around marker buoys and stuff like that. And I've caught some, but yeah, might have to add that to the arsenal this spring and give it a try.
Yeah, I was, when I heard him deliver this, and he's talking about throwing the big bill jerkbaits around wood, which is the secret that he was, that he was letting out for us at Bass University. I just couldn't believe it, because I've been around wood with jerkbaits so much that I don't do it, because you get anywhere near a branch and you're done for. Yep. But his little sweep technique to pull it through those branches, man, that's money. So we appreciate you, Justin, for giving that little tidbit to us at Bass University. And congratulations on he's number 3, right, Rich?
He was number 4, right? Number 4. Now we're going on to number 3. And this guy's a fan favorite. This is Gerald Swindle with Mental Toughness.
I'm watching Kevin Dan Vam. I call him KVD. I really call him BD. They said, why? I said, it's like a venereal disease. Once you get him, you can't get rid of him. Y'all had to fish against him to respect that. Because I was there, and when he, you just couldn't shake him. Medicine wouldn't get him off of it. He could catch him. Still can. One of the greatest ever. He's fishing at Wheeler, and you watch him on live camera. He's fishing a crankbait, He gets one on. He said, big one, 5-pounder. Comes off. He never says a word. He said, another big one. Shoo, it comes off. He slaps the grass. He looks at the camera. He goes, smiles. He goes, well, that don't happen much, does it? Goes on to win the tournament. Biggest lesson I ever seen in fishing. It never changed his mindset. He could have sat down and melted down, but he thought that doesn't happen much. So now, as I fish, I start looking at the odds of that. It doesn't happen a lot when you really screw up bad. So why take it with you on down the bank? If you make a mistake and you take it with you all the way around the cove, you're going to continue to make that mistake. It don't happen much. Just let it go. Just let it go. I took away from that day and said, you know what? If you look in the mirror what you did wrong, you'll never see out in front of the windshield where you want to land. And how many times in life have we made a mistake and we start looking in the mirror, going, if I shoulda, woulda, coulda, boy, if that fish would have got it, if he wouldn't run up on that cable, we'd have won. Well, it didn't happen. That's what I tell them young kids. Life's tough. It sucks. Get a helmet. Some days just ain't going to go your way. But don't carry it with you. Don't carry it with you. My wife and I have a rule. Leanne gives me 24 hours. If I don't catch them, she said, you got 24 hours. Then I want to hear another word about it.
I like that. That's a good rule. That's a good rule, because I'm bad about it, man. I will carry a lost fish. I'm still sweating those fish I lost at the Potomac, in Champlain this year. I mean, they still haunt me at 2 o'clock in the morning when I wake up. That's what pops into my mind. But that's it's interesting, because I was in my rookie season out on tour. I paired up with KVD, and I've told this story before, but it's worth mentioning now because it's exactly what Gerald. I saw it in action when Kevin was young. We were fishing on Lake Eufaula, and he, we were struggling. Back then, both pros would pair up and called them invitational. So I was paired with Kevin, and we were both fishing out of the front of the boat. And we started to pick away. We started catching. We starting to get into him, and he ties into a big fish, and he brings this fish up to the boat. It's like you follow if you guys fish down there in Alabama. The visibility where we were at wasn't that good. I would say maybe 3 feet, maybe. So it's not tremendous amount of visibility. So and I'm scared to death because we're cranking, and he's bringing a big fish to the boat with a crankbait, and I'm a rookie. I've never seen a fish over 7 pounds. And being from the part of the country that I'm in, which is up here, in the north. And so he brings this fish, and I'm there to help him. He's asking for my help. I'm going to try to land this fish for him. And he brings the fish up, and he gets him. I couldn't really see him, but a silhouette of the fish. He's probably 4 feet down, and he turns to make a run, and a big boil comes up, and he brings him up a second time. And this time I can see him a little better, and he's as long as my arm. I'm telling you, a giant fish, bigger than any fish I had ever seen. And he makes a run under the boat. Kevin brings him up. He says, "I got him this time." And I'm down there. I'm ready to bear hug this fish. I'm gonna put him in a suplex. I don't know, a figure four. We're getting this fish in the boat somehow. And the crankbait come flying right past my ear as the crankbait popped out of his mouth. Never saw the fish. He was probably 4 or 5 feet down. And I figure that was a 10-pound class fish, maybe 8, 9, maybe 12. I don't know. It was a giant fish. And Kevin got back up on the front deck, and he made another cast. And I mean, he didn't even express loss in any way. He just focused. And I asked him about it, and he's like, I figured I try to look at the positive, like, you figured a way out to trigger a big bite. If I did it once, I can do it again. So you focus on that positive, and you keep battling it. And that's a tough one to overcome, but KVD's the champ at it. And Swindle is the champ at teaching us how to do it. His PMA seminars are inspirational, whether you're a fisherman or any walk of life. He's tremendous, and we're thrilled to have him at Bass University, and he'll be with us again this year in Anderson, South Carolina. So go check that out. But what is it? What does that seminar mean to you, Rich?
Oh man, I don't know. I think my takeaway would be like, everybody deals with things in different ways, and not everybody can be KVD in those moments. But it's important to, like, if you're gonna if you gotta get it out, the frustration. For me, it's like, get it all out at once. It may get back in my head at the end of an event, but after something happens, I will let it out, generally when I'm retying or whatever. But then it's out. It's out, and right back to it. And one I can remember from this year, Justin and I, in our last tournament of the year, I broke off a big one. I let it out, retied, and caught a 6-pounder a minute or two later. And Justin, in that moment, even made the comment. He said, "Way to stay in it." And like I said, everybody handles stuff differently, but you can't. It's definitely true that if you keep that in your head, that you're gonna break another one off, you're gonna lose another one. If that's what you're thinking about, chances are you're going to make that happen subconsciously. So, it's not an easy thing to do, though. Self-admittedly, I'm not the best at it, but it's something as fishermen we got to just try to continue to improve on.
Yep, everybody's got their way of dealing with it. Justin, what's your takeaway?
I thought of your story that you told me with your moment with Kevin in the boat, because the first time you told me that story, it pops into my head every time something like that happens to me, honestly. Everybody does handle stuff differently, but yeah, I mean, if you gotta let it out, but don't let yourself out of the game. That's just how I try and go about it. Yeah, because I used to be really bad with it when I was younger. My mentor would get me in check. I would, if I even just fun fishing, if I got my rear end handed to me one day, I would just spin out. I wouldn't catch a fish the rest of the day. If he was up 3-0 on me, I would, I would spin out. Why aren't I getting bites? This is 10, 11-year-old Justin talking, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's just that story that you told me the first time you told me it always stuck with me, and then popped back into my mind when G-Man was talking about it.
Yep. And everybody's different, and the key is you got to get your head back in the game as quick as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Our boy Ike is famous for exploding and reacting when something like that happens, but for him it works because he can express it, let it go, and get back to business, and so everybody's their own angler, and you got to figure out how to get yourself. I'm more like Gerald. I can't allow myself to get spun out because it'll take a long time for me to come back from that, and I can check out. So, but you got to find out what works for you, and I think I liken myself more towards that mindset that Gerald talks about in the seminar. But he's one of the best. Gerald is 2-time AOY. Thrilled. He's going to be so much fun, you guys, in South Carolina. We always have a blast when Gerald's in the house, and he's going to be there with us again this year. So come by and check it out. Get your tickets while you can. And he was number 3.
It was number
Correct.
2. Yep.
Okay.
Number 3.
What's next?
Number 2 is Lee Livesey on Southern pre-spawn strategies.
And then we're going to go to the back of the drain. That's where everybody likes to fish. That's where at Rayburn, Toledo Bend, Fort, places like that, we're going to get hydrilla, we're going to get milfoil, we're going to get shell beds if you don't have grass, and those fish are going to get shallow, 4 foot or less, depending on how deep your grass is. And that's where the red rattle traps in Texas, all over the South, your chatterbait, stuff like that. I'm going to go into more depth on some of the stuff that I like to fish. And that's where those fish go. Like we started out on the front, they use that drain just like a highway. They're going to eat on the ends of those points, get in the middle of that drain. They might be on a brush pile or stump in that weird range like we talked about floating, and then they're going to hit the back of that drain, and there's going to be a big flat back there. You know what I mean? On each side, you're going to have the fish disperse. And if there's hydrilla back there, that's what those fish are going to do. They're going to go back there and winter pre-spawn stage in that grass where there might be a shell bed there. If you don't have grass in your lake, maybe it's bushes, like at Ivy, the drains will go to bushes and you're using the bushes. Something to hold them will be back there. If there's not anything back there, they're gonna stay out on the outside like we talked about. So you don't have to worry about it. But like at Rayburn, boom, you got hydrilla back there. You go to the back of that drain, hit 4 or 5 foot, you're gonna pick up a snatch, a swank, chatterbait, spinnerbait, anything like that, and you're just going to cover water. That section is what we've all done in the South, and we've all been there, done it, throwing a red trap, and just, once you hit that section, there's not a lot to figure out with your graph. It's more just fishing, cast, you just got to fish, time on the water, and there's going to be some irregularity in that grass, whether it's thicker grass, thinner grass, a hole in the grass. Like I fished a BFL on Rayburn last year, the first week of January, and got second in it. I had a big flat of grass at the end of a drain in Harvey Creek, and there was a shell bed just about, big as 2 boats, from me to the camera. Just a little hole in the grass with no grass growing there and a bunch of shell on there. And I sat there and stroked them every single cast with chatterbait and a 6-inch swank.
That's awesome. We love Lee too. He's been with Bass University for a lot of years now, and he's one of the winningest anglers out there. His winning percentage is really up there with the best that's ever done it. And what a fun time pre-spawn in Texas. I've been fortunate enough to fish a few events. One that comes to mind is Toledo Bend, and I'll never forget the following that exact strategy where the drains leading to the flats, they just funnel these fish. And when they come, I mean, they just crash those banks, and it's so much fun. I've caught them on these little cedar stumps right on the edges of the drains, and you'll catch them. And as the next day warms and the next day warms again, they'll leave those drains and stumps and they filter up onto the flats. And man, what a blast that is. Texas has got some of the best bass fishing in the country. And a shout out to the folks at the Share Lunker program for really contributing to the amazing Texas bass fishing. But Lee's got to spend a lot of time seeing that develop at Fork and all the Great Lakes in Texas. So if you are fishing any types of those reservoirs, this is a seminar that's going to definitely help you get it done. What are your thoughts, Rich?
Definitely. And like I said earlier about with Buddy Gross's seminar, I mean, this is another one that pretty much all of Lee's seminars, if you're somebody that lives or fishes in the state of Texas, man, you want to be checking these out, because I mean, you heard it firsthand right here in this one. Lee is not afraid to give up like the actual juice on stuff, and he's a confident enough guy that he will tell you where he caught them, what he caught them on, and how he did it. And when it was this example, it was in the back of Harvey Creek in a BFL on Sam Rayburn that he had a school of fish that he lit up for every cast for most of the tournament. And I think part of that that's so cool is that's the magic of pre-spawn fishing on a body of water that has grass or has bushes, or some of the things that he talked about, that you can really get into some big pods of fish and make hay on them pretty quick and get heavy pretty quick in the pre-spawn. And this was just a short snippet of it, but he broke that. He breaks down in that seminar his whole approach to the process from pre-spawn fish, from when they're out at the ends of the points to when they start coming in on the drains to where they get to the backs of the flats, and each step along the way. So definitely one you want to check out.
No doubt. Justin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Lee is an excellent teacher. Rich is a good word, confident teacher. And a lot of stuff he talks about in this seminar, although we're in a totally different part of the country, they can definitely relate in the pre-spawn, finding those drains or those highway areas that can push those fish into those areas in the pre-spawn. I always find it funny, those Texas guys, it's drains. It's always drains, not ditches or anything like that. It's the drains. I'm gonna start calling them drains now.
That's a good word, and it's amazing fishing. And every time we go to Texas, we try to capitalize on this amazing shallow water movement, and we get snow and ice. And it looks like we're going to get some pretty nasty weather when we're there again this year. Some pretty cold weather, but that's coming soon. I mean, it doesn't take long down in Texas, down in the South. I mean, you just need 2, 3, or 4 days of warm weather, and those fish start getting that itch. And if you're in Texas, we just looked at the weather because we were trying to figure out, are we going to fish? Are we going to film? What are we going to do? So it's going to be cold during this year's seminar. Perfect time for you to come to class and hang out with us. And Lee Livesey will be with us in Athens, Texas. So come on down and see us, not this weekend, but next weekend. So get your tickets while you can. All right, man. So that was number 2. We're down to 1. Is that right?
Yep.
Down to one. And
please.
yeah, drum roll. And this is going to be the only guy that showed up twice on the list, and he's got the number 10 spot and the number 1 spot, and that's Ben Milliken. And we'll roll the seminar. It's about targeting the biggest fish in your lake.
So when I'm going to pick up a big thumper blade is, and it might not be something with the size 12 blade like this guy that's ridiculous, but I'm talking like I loved it. I don't throw anything under like a 6-7 size blade, if you know how big that is. about any time I'm picking up a spinnerbait, because I want to cause as much commotion as possible. And the time that I want to do that is going to be when the water is off colored, less than 2 foot visibility, shallow brush piles, docks. I mean, even throwing it over the top of a rock pile, off a grass point, something like that. A giant spinnerbait can catch a freak of a fish, and it can catch fish a lot of times that this guy, they've just seen a million of them. And then last but not least, we talk about this bait right here, this Clash. Once again, crankbait characteristics. It's just like a crankbait. You can take the bill out, and guys like to twitch it and fish it kind of like some baits we'll talk about here in a second. But for me, this is a 12 foot or less, any type of water visibility, but preferably less than 3 foot, you know, just like a crankbait. And you're going to burn this thing, stop and go, fish at the same areas, and it catches big fish. So here's a couple non-traditional big baits we'll talk about. There's 2 videos. So do the one on the left first. This is a big spoon fish. And take a look at this school and how they're set up on LiveScope. It just shows on the screen for just a second. But this is what I look for. Big fish biting, and they're used to chasing bait because it's so erratic. Oh my God. Those are all giants. That's like 12 big ones. And if you ever see them dotted like that in a wad, it's a flutter spoon time, and one of them is going to eat it. I can about guarantee it.
That's awesome. See giants like that wadded up like that. That's pretty cool. And catching them on a flutter spoon boat. I mean, there's a lot of people. That's their mission in life. That's how they like to fish. Is they're trophy hunters. You know, they're going after the biggest fish in the lake. They don't give a crap about tournaments. They don't care about going out and getting bit. You know, they're out there slinging glides and big baits, and they're hunting for trophy bass, and that is a fun way to fish. So it's really, really cool that Ben took it on with his strategies, and that's just a clip of some of the tools that he uses. There's a lot more to this seminar, but it's interesting. The #1 seminar at Bass University is all about trophy hunting. Rich, that's pretty cool.
Big baits for big bass, and man, the sheer size of that spinnerbait is, when I was scrubbing through this seminar and choosing a section to use, is that it was impactful. The size of those blades, it was like stopping on the screen. So I had to tune in and listen to that part of it. And I mean, Ben has made a name for himself, not only being a great tournament angler, but he's also really good at catching the big ones. And he breaks down his whole approach on how he does that using bigger than average style baits in a lot of instances. So,
yeah, excellent stuff. Are you a trophy hunter, Justin? Would you call yourself one of those guys?
Nah, man, I fish for bites, but nah, my favorite part of this seminar was honestly going into it when we were in Texas. I thought it was going to be all about big swim baits, Huddlestons, big glides, that type of thing. But, there's big baits other than just big swim baits, a big spoon, a giant mop jig, a spinnerbait. So that type of stuff resonates with me more. And definitely I tried a few of those things this year, bigger mop jigs and big spinnerbaits and stuff like that. And I don't know if it necessarily worked for me all that well, but it opened up my eyes to bigger bait fishing a little bit.
Yeah. I hear my dog chiming in. I don't know if you guys can hear him, but apparently he's all into the trophy hunting too. Yeah. Jake is too. Fishing with Jake, and I'm watching him in his high school tournaments. Him and his partner, Jake always seems to play that role of trophy hunter, where they'll work together as a team, and his partner will be more in charge of the pattern, getting more bites, and Jake likes to focus his energies throwing that big glide and doing mixing it in throughout the day. looking for that trophy fish. So it's a fun way to fish. I know a lot of people around here that love to do it. Shout out to James Riley, who does a lot of work for Bass University. I put him in the trophy hunting category, don't you, Justin? I know you know him as well as I do these days.
Yeah. James definitely loves throwing a big swim bait around, and he's all into all the JDM stuff and stuff like that for sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. He come out with me on trips out, and we'll catch 24 pounders in a day, and he'll be disappointed, that we didn't get a 5, 6, or a 7 that day. So, but it's trophy hunting is a frame of mind, and Ben is really living in a place and spending a lot of time teaching us all how to do it. So, man, congratulations, Ben Milliken, 2 seminars in the top 10 this year. We look forward to having him back at Bass University sometime soon, and learning more from his different techniques and strategies. So that's a great list, guys, man. It's tremendous. I want to thank all those speakers for really giving up the goods, and we work really hard at it. All of us here at Bass University, and special shout out to you, Rich, for really pushing these guys to deliver the content that to reach the bar of Bass University, getting the goods, getting the secrets that really help guys catch fish. Because us fishermen, we like to tell lies, we like to hold some little tricks and secrets dear to us, but our speakers are excellent at really giving the goods, and we push them for that, because we want that for you guys, the guys that are learning, the guys that are watching the content and becoming better anglers. So we're excited about that. And it pops into my mind one of the great seminars that we have in the mix. If you're a hummingbird guy, this is going to be a good one for you. It's going to be a powerful one. It's Brian Thrift's seminar that we have scheduled for Anderson, South Carolina, where we're going to be projecting his Apex units, his hummingbird units for Mega 360 and Mega Live 2. How he sets them up, how he uses them in concert with one another, in addition to his Lake Master use, his shading, his waypoint management, all of his settings on how he does what he does. Because Brian Thrift is got to be the best offshore, guy that there is. That's how he's won so much in the last decade or more. Winning and on every single level that he competes at consistently, fishing offshore, using mainly 360, but he's really starting to incorporate the Mega Live, especially Mega Live 2 now that's out. He's going to be talking about all that stuff at Anderson. So if you want to get dialed in on your offshore stuff, that's going to be a great place for you to be. So come on by to Anderson. So, man, what a great list, guys. Thank you both for putting that amazing list together and cutting those clips. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, reliving all those seminars that we worked so hard for. Yeah. It gets me fired up for the year to come. We're gonna turn the keys and do this all again here in just a couple of weeks. So it's gonna be another exciting year here at Bass U. Yeah, sure enough. And guys, get subscribed. If you're a subscriber, if you're watching this, you probably are. All the full seminars are all right there at your fingertips over at bassu.tv. Go check it out. What do we do? Are we prepared with other stuff? Do we have subscriber of the week, Justin? Of course we do.
Of course we do, Pete. Our sub of the week this week is Kyle, and Kyle's got one of the fresh Property of BU shirts that we gave away at the classroom last year. Yeah, so shout out Kyle. Appreciate you repping the BU. Looking good with a solid bass there. Yeah. Sub of the week, Kyle. Thank you for watching the program, being part of the program. And thanks everybody for watching. Is there any closing thoughts, guys? No. Happy New Year, everybody. Well, real quick, I got a closing thought. I want your New Year's resolutions. What are your goals? What's your plans?
this year, Justin? Let's start with you in fishing.
That's a good one. I haven't really thought about in fishing. Maybe we'll go with time on the water. Try and get
That's great.
A few more days in. I feel like I put a decent amount of time on the water this year, especially once I got my boat up and going. But yeah. When tournaments are flying through, I'm gonna try and be out there at least 3 days a week, 3-4 days.
That is a goal to live by in 2025. More time on the water, man. That's a tremendous one, Justin. I like that.
So we're
How about
going.
Yeah, I'll go like small, medium, large with it, I guess. And the small will be continue to put as much emphasis on staying ready as I can. And we talked about it last year at the beginning of the year, the Jason Christie stay ready approach, which is, always just take care of the stuff when it needs to be taken care of in that moment. Don't put it off. Don't put a rod back on your deck that doesn't have a bait tied on it. Just take care of it. Stay ready, and you're always going to be ready. I was pretty good about that last year for the first half of the year, and I think it showed in my fishing. I mean, I had a really good beginning of my year last year as far as spring through into the midsummer, and then I feel like I kind of lost focus a little bit and it tailed off, and the stay ready approach might have got put to the wayside just a little bit. So continue on with that. Continue on with the stay ready approach. Don't be lazy. Make sure that you can control what you can control. The second tier would be, I want another BFL trophy. I want another one of these damn trophies to be sitting next to me when I'm sitting here doing these shows. It's been too many years. So win a BFL, and then the big one is win the Bass Open. So
nice. That's right.
You got to shoot high, and if you shoot for the top and you fall a little bit short, you still did all right. So that's what I got. That's what I'm looking at.
I like it, and those are some great goals. We're hopefully we'll all be in that Open, or I haven't even registered for it yet, but I think I got to get myself signed up for it. And cherry pick that Open that's coming to the Chesapeake this year. I'm just having so much fun learning forward facing sonar fishing with it. Landscape mode. That mode is going to be I have the least amount of time working with that component of the forward-facing sonar technology. So I'm looking forward to spending a lot more time with that this year. So that's gonna be fun for me. I love learning. I love learning new techniques, new strategies. I love all the information that the new technology is teaching us about how fish move. And it's enlightening me on a lot of different things and dispelling some old wives' tales. So I'm going to have fun continuing to do that this year. And I am definitely, man, I'm going to adopt yours, Justin. Man, and I see Epic Eric's Bass Lab is loving it too. Hashtag fish more, win more, all that stuff. I love it. But fish more. I'm going to be fishing a lot with Jake this year. Him and I are probably going to pair up to do maybe some Chester counties or some tournaments up north, maybe. I'm not sure. But fish more. That's 2025. I think that needs to be our mantra, fish more. It's a shame you have a boss that works you so hard.
Hey man, my favorite time is from 5 to 9 in the summertime.
5 to 9. Man, that is great.
Can't say it any better than that.
5 to 9 is Justin's time.
5 to 9 is Justin's time. That is our favorite. Me and Jake too, man. We love to fish till the sun goes down. Boats are off the water, guys. That's a little sneak trick because the morning is so crowded. The boat ramps are mobbed, but in the afternoon and the evenings, it's quiet and the fish are off the chain. They're biting like crazy. at that time, and there's so little boat traffic and people are off the water. That's awesome. And you guys live right on the water, have summer homes down there, or your own home, and that's amazing. You guys get to see that every day.
There's nothing like putting them to bed the night before a tournament, Pete.
Yeah.
That's right.
Love that.
Leave them biting.
Hey, and we also have the Ike Foundation tournament coming up down there. So check that out at theikefoundation.org. We're all going to be participating in that again this year.
That'll probably be my Bass Open. I'll be taking that one serious.
Yep. You're going to be a force to be reckoned with. We're going to have to we might have to cut you off or something. Slow you down a little bit. Too much time on the water.
We'll see.
Hey guys, thank you so much. Thanks for all your hard work, you two, and Jocelyn and Jason and Jeff and everybody that works so hard at Bass University. I want to thank you guys for a great content season, and we look forward to a 2025. Look forward to seeing all you guys in the classroom this year. So thanks everybody for watching over there on the chat boards and for participating with us at Bass U Live. We're looking forward to having another great year in this upcoming season. And let us know on social if there's anglers you want to hear, topics you want to learn more about, let us know, because we're going to continue to deliver the goods for you guys. So with all that being said, Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you have an amazing 2025. Hashtag fish more, everybody.
Welcome to Minnow King. How can I help you?
Everything looks good. I'm friggin' starving, man. Been spawning all morning.
Ugh, TMI, bro. What do you want?
I'll take a Crush City freeloader and gizzard shad.
Anything to drink.
Water.
Pull ahead, please. Welcome to Minnow King.
We're gonna have what he's had. Yeah, throw me in a net BLT, too.
Pull ahead, please.
Calm down. Quit feeding so much.
Hey, man, I'm trying to, man.
If you overfeed him, he's gonna hide under a log.
Right here, AquaView, mandatory equipment in my boat. I say it all the time. The smallmouths hide in the cracks in the rocks, and just saw a little bit of the same kind of rock with the cracks in it, and I realized that I had to put a bait down there. You wouldn't, idle over them and see them on your screen. You had to put a bait down there and suck them out of the rock. So, AquaView, big assist on this one.
And outdoors Bassmaster Classic champion, Jeff.
Coffee. The angler's ritual. A reason to leave your cozy covers, even if you aren't headed to the river. We started Angler's Coffee because, well, we love to fish, we love coffee, and we care. Think of it as the rise before the rise.
Why do you love catching fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming Series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.